right, we are back. I was looking at the mic, but I need to look at the
You had it all focused right there. Bring it here. Good way to go.
Welcome back to Devil's Advocate. It's been a minute. A lot has transgressed since our last.
A few things? Maybe
a few
one or two. You could throw in a couple.
minor things.
Yeah.
But we're not even going to waste time with all that because I'm sure people have been seeing all that. We're going to get right into the issues. For the people who don't know how this show works, the way Devil's Advocate works is I will pick a topic, and Heidi will get to pick what side of the topic he wants, and I will have to defend the opposite end. I will have to play the devil's advocate. And you guys, the people of the court, the people of the jury, will decide who you think did a better job with their arguments. So,
you know who you're going to side with.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I thought I'd just start with an easy topic, just ease us into one that's not it's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer.
We're going to talk about...
That could be interesting.
Reparations.
Reparations. Is it a no-brainer?
That's the topic right there.
Is it a no-brainer for... If it was, would it even be a thing to discuss?
It's something to discuss. What is your stance on reparations? Are you for them or are you against them?
Well, I would have to say my personal stance, I would be in favor.
You're in favor. So that means I'm against reparations. Go ahead. What is your argument for reparations?
What is my argument for reparations? Well, that's a great multi-layered question, Lou, and I'm glad you asked.
Yeah, let me hear it.
So, what we have in the case of reparations with the federal government, the United States, paying either financially or in resources to the descendants of slaves, Black Americans in this country, for a period of unpaid forced labor, not to mention the torture and murder of millions in the process of building up the economic backbone and support of this country, the foundation of what still exists today. And I think that if we really are to dissect what the foundations of the American economy are and what the actual, aside from the actual cash, what the economic means it was human beings. They were insured. There were insurance companies that profited from the actual insurance of them. There were assets, literally, to be bought and sold. And so when you have people being reduced to economic units, and then years later turning around and saying that, well, no, wait, actually, we're actually not even apologizing for it, but then acting as if the very real economic foundation of it, outside of, even if we want to extract the horrible racial element of it and the the whole mythology behind what dark skin actually constitutes and means, the economic aspect of it is what is so brutal. Right. But now we're supposed to act like that's not, that wasn't the kind of cold truth underneath of all of the rest of it.
Even if you acknowledge that, though, but how exactly do you dole out reparations? That's where it gets messy because, we don't have records or proof, or we can't prove that everyone that had their ancestors. Because look, I'm Haitian. Probably y'all don't know I'm from Haiti.
Sapase.
Naboule.
Hey. People don't say that?
I would say that.
That's always my end.
That's off the island.
I would get no love on the island. They'd be like,
they'd be like, nah.
Ridiculous American.
Yeah.
What is their slang for ridiculous American? What is that?
Ridiculous American?
I don't know. Or is there cause I feel like in Spanish it's like gringo is like the American. White,
Vieux blanc ça.
Vieux blanc ça.
Vieux blanc.
Vieux blanc.
Ça.
Vieux blanc ça. Vieux blanc ça.
But no, look. So I would feel some type of way, me being here. I was born in America, even though I'm Haitian. Yes. If they're doling out reparations, does that mean I get reparations also?
Look, I think that if we're going to speak on Haiti, which is a great thing to talk to, when we speak on reparations, because as I'm sure you know, my good Haitian brother, Haiti was forced to pay reparations to their former enslavers. The French, of course. And it was a crippling impact to their economy after they liberated themselves. And so I think that when we talk about the concept isn't foreign at all, right? They just don't like it going the other way around.
They don't. But the fact that you were making that parallel to what happened to France, how Haiti had to pay France reparations, Larry Elder, who was running to be the governor of California, wisely pointed out...
now dismissed?
Yes. Wisely pointed out on Candace Owens' podcast.
Oh, I know.
Yes, right? If you're going to give reparations to the slaves, then you got to give reparations to the slave owners because that was their property that was taken from them.
Do you know that the slave owners were compensated? After they lost their quote-unquote property, the government compensated slave owners.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so when people talk about reparations, do they really want to have that conversation? Because, like it or not, slavery was legal. And so their property, their legal property, was taken away from them after the Civil War. So you can make an argument that the people that are owed reparations, and not only just black people, but also the people whose, quote, property, close quote, was taken away after the end of the Civil War.
That point is so fascinating to me because I think to live in a world where that actually makes sense, what you're essentially saying is, I'm comfortable with people being reduced to economic units to be bought, sold, and transferred
property.
And I guess it's so especially deep because it's people who would look like his family members. And it's like, gosh, that doesn't hit you in a different place. That doesn't feel like it's somehow incredibly inhumane, especially. And so that's why people like that, I think, are so... confounding to us so often because it's like, damn, you would be there too. You wouldn't have been exempt.
We don't know that. There's records of there being good slave masters who were good to their slaves, right? According to Bill O'Reilly, there were well treated and well fed and well taken care of.
Slaves that worked there were well fed and had decent lodgings provided by the government in order to keep slaves and free laborers strong. The Washington administration provided meat, bread, and other staples, also decent lodging on the grounds of the new presidential building. That is a fact, not a justification, not a defense of slavery, just a fact. Anyone who implies a soft on slavery message is beneath contempt.
Okay, so I just want to make it known, Your Honor, it's not about the atrocities of slavery. I think everyone here can agree that slavery was atrocious. I think yes.
I would love for us to be, because I'm not even, the U.S. government can't even agree to say, hey, you know what?
No one out is out here defending slavery. No one out here is like, yo, slavery, let's go back to those days. No one is saying that.
In fact, it seems rather clear that Black Americans are doing better here today than they would be had their ancestors generations ago never been brought to these shores. We can prove this point by simply asking which African country anyone asking for reparations would prefer to live in. The answer, of course, is none of them. Now, you might offer the rebuttal that if slavery never existed, if we're reimagining history without that institution at all, then Africa itself would be in a better shape, better place, and better shape, and maybe indeed Black Americans would be better off there. But this seems highly unlikely, and it also ignores the fact that Africans participated in slavery and the slave trade as much as they were victims of it.
There's been a argument that slavery is bad, but
let's just change what we think it is.
Listen,
so then,
with enough perspective, anything
really looks. We don't really have to reckon with it.
Hindsight is 2020. Right? A lot of people, when they were in the act, they're like, "Oh, my bad, we can't own people." No one told us we couldn't, which is fair.
Thought we were onto something.
Trial and error.
Don't know why.
Go to a country, kidnap people, force them to work. Turns out not a good idea, but you learn and live and learn.
So, that's the fortunate part. You do. You
live very long.
But that's part of what we want to come back to. And I think when you said, how do you begin to do it?
How do you do it? Yes. How much does it take to make slavery okay? Okay. To just be done with this. How much?
I think that's part of. Let's even begin with the thought process there, because the idea of reparations, we know that it can't reverse what happened. It doesn't absolve what happened, but it does acknowledge that a damage was done. Mm-hmm. And this is something to compensate at least for that damage. Okay. So slavery is never going to be okay. Okay. And, there are aspects of it that are, that it's stamped in history. It's irreversible in that respect. However, there are ways in which those who have been most affected by it can be assisted to be able to gain the full participatory rights and enjoyment of the abundance that is here that they've been legally restricted from.
Okay, but you didn't answer my question. So, how much? How much? Now, how much first? First, we need to know, we need to come to an agreement on a monetary amount.
Okay.
How much?
Look, there are folks far smarter than me.
50,000? There's a negotiation. You gotta start somewhere.
That's 1 year's somebody's office worker salary.
So 50,000.
They were in the fields, man. That was not easy. It was
55,000.
Okay, now we're talking.
Okay, now we're getting cooking.
I love the escalation of where we're on the way to. The trajectory is solid. But there are a lot of things to factor in, and I get it. There's a lot of that. There's a lot to factor in to accurately try to get an idea, because it was so much a part of what, again, the society was built upon. Yeah. And I think that you can't separate it now, certainly from almost certainly in a financial sense, when it comes to home ownership, when it comes to, median income, when it comes to, even I think what would have to be a part of it, in my mind, I'll say, aspects of it that I think that would be most beneficial, even in addition to actual, financial, is just really looking at key areas like, housing and education, and really seeking to try to make those more, not to really invest in meaningful ways. And it's like these things have been studied before, but it's like they just act like they don't want to make the investment.
It's not about, well, look, it's not just about the investment. It's also a question about, like, speaking of investments, who's going to pay for this?
Look, who benefited from the institution of slavery?
A lot of people that are in the dirt right now. A lot of people taking dirt naps. So they're not here.
They're not here.
Yeah.
But descendants of their descendants of their descendants are here.
So you think it's right to make the descendants, who had nothing to do with what their ancestors did,
but they
pay?
do, though.
What do you mean?
But they do.
They do what?
If you are able to enjoy the fruits of labor of those who came before you, hey, you also in some cases need to be able to wear the blood of what led to those labors, or what contributed to those labors.
Sure, but that is a slippery slope. That is a slippery slope, because at what point do you draw a line? And at what point do you say this person didn't benefit from slavery, but their parents or grandparents or great-grandparents were alive around the time of slavery, ipso facto, the intrinsic property mathematics benefited from slavery.
See, look, you have to look at it, you have to think of it this way, I think, is that if you're what is considered white in America, you, in more ways than there's some ways that are clearly visible, some ways less, you benefited from slavery.
Okay.
From the existence of an institution that purposely and legally subjugated the melanated peoples of this land. Mm-hmm. And you were allowed to live on top of them, ipso facto, by simply existing. First of all, don't use my phrase. I liked it. It rolled so easily off the tongue. It did. I was just like, and it came back. It was good.
Look, this is my biggest gripe with reparations. The implementation of it is still not clear. And you're asking people to get on board with something that's not clear. But in America, we like clarity.
We're literally just, we don't. We don't like clarity. We like simple. That's the thing. We like simple and digestible and repeatable.
Yes.
Like, man, we're at this is a tangent, but we're at the anniversary of, 9/11, of course, where all these retrospectives on the Afghan war. And the billions of dollars that was just wasted. And if we want to talk about who's going to pay for it, where does it come from? I mean, that's just, of course, one glaring thing to point to.
I don't know if you saw the banner, but it was mission accomplished.
It was.
All right, that's billions of dollars well spent.
That was $1 billion banner.
Billions of dollars well spent. Mission was accomplished before it even got started, guys. That's how you know. Mid-mission accomplished. Yeah. Let's put another 10, 20 years in it.
Yeah, it's done.
Yeah. So
in saying that, to get people even to the point where, before we even, now again, mind you, there are folks who have worked through what that number would look like. Okay. But even before we get to that point, getting people to acknowledge and say, hey, you know what? Yeah, we should do this. That in itself.
You don't think, okay, so first you want people to just, I think most people will agree, like, a messed up thing happened a long time ago, okay? And it's like,
somebody like stepped on somebody's shoe.
Look, we don't know who started it. There's no way to prove who started it, but we just know some messed up stuff happened, and a lot of people are sorry for it.
And that's and at least a lot of us are made to feel sorry about it.
Yes.
We're not sure why.
How many more movies do you guys need until it's like, look,
it's so wild.
Our bad.
Movies keep history alive for real. Because without movies, people would be like, slave? Well, what is? I don't know what that.
Accidentally
Something these black people keep talking about. I don't know. They keep mentioning it after they get pulled over. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, look, again, the conversation for reparations, I'm still not sold on it.
Wait, so
I still think I'm like...
Wait. Yeah. Hold on. Before you even come back around, acknowledgement of the fact that, all right, there was a severe injury done.
Yes, that's been done.
And not only, again, if we're going to talk about been done, we're talking about in the context of time. If we want to play that game for a second, we're talking about a period of essentially 1619 to 1863, if we want to count the Emancipation Proclamation as that.
Okay.
Of what, essentially 160 years, and in addition to, afterwards with black codes, with lynchings, with of course, leading to segregation. We're talking about 1965, essentially, with the passing of the Rights Act, that there was a full ability legally to participate in citizenship. And so for that time, I think that when we talk about been done, it really hasn't been done.
What are you talking about? We gave you guys February. We gave you a whole month. Albeit the shortest month, but it doesn't matter. It gave you the whole month, and on top of that, just to show that people aren't sitting on their laurels.
True.
Juneteenth is now a national holiday.
It is a national holiday. That is true.
That's progress.
True.
Okay.
That
is proof that racism is over. Like,
it's
people can come together around the Juneteenth table and put up a Juneteenth trees. What do you guys do on Juneteenth? What do you guys do on Juneteenth? Put up a Juneteenth.
We all get together and listen to trap music.
Listen to trap music.
That's what it is. That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
It's a secret reason for that. We created it just so we could have more trap moments together.
There it is. Put up a backwoods street. You know?
Yeah. Those actually are really more popular than you think.
I see them at all the gas stations, so I'm sure. But yeah, look, so it's like, again, I don't think America can heal and move forward
until
we keep
honest
digging at this wound that obviously is trying to heal itself. You know, we cauterize the wound, and it's time to move on. I think reparations just reopens a nasty wound that we have moved past. Okay, especially because it's still not clear how it would even work and how much. You know, when you guys come up with the numbers. Your Honor, I think if they could give us numbers, then maybe that would start the conversation. But till then, reparations is like just a nice idea that you keep talking about, but there's no way to really implement it. That's my closing statement, Your Honor. Also, footnote, I hate defending this point, but goes neither here nor there. It has to be said. That's my asterisks on reparations. All right. Closing statement.
Indeed. I think that what must be really inspected is the truth of the kind of country that we not only are, but have been, but then would like to be. And I think part of that aspiration is about looking at one another and saying that your humanity matters despite what your history is, and we want to pave a new way forward. And I think part of that is about not just speaking that and creating free holidays that cost you nothing to implement and sound really good.
National holiday.
It is a national holiday. Sounds great. And mind you, I had a great time. This Juneteenth was live as hell. Yeah. I'm gonna tell you, this Juneteenth.
People get the day off. That's big.
This one, but we would have been doing it anyway. So it's not because they gave us a holiday. We've been doing it. But those symbolic gestures are just that, without having any real action behind them to increase equity and to really make a sincere effort to try to repair, to borrow a phrase. And it's because there was a great injury that was done. And we see the remnants of it all around us every day if we're honest about it. And I think that, far too often we have folks who obfuscate that or lie about, what the truth of what that means, and allow that to continue to permeate, because it's profitable to do so. But when we talk about economics, because America is about them dollars,
It's about them.
it is about them dollar bills.
Yes.
If there were America's favorite pastime is a lawsuit, right? If there were to be a lawsuit, black people against the United States of America, there would be a long list of evidence. And I damn sure believe the U.S. would try to settle out of court to save from hearing all that bloodstained laundry.
No, we don't have that kind of time. But this is the court of public opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You guys get to decide what side of this argument are you on. Are you for reparations, or are you the sensible against reparations? Please comment below. Don't put any Uncle Tom comments. I know what that means. It hurts my feelings.
Oh.
Even the devil needs an advocate sometimes. So, yes, guys. But yeah, definitely let us know. I think the conversation reparations obviously is not going to be summed up in one video, but it's a
I think we
conversation.
actually settled it.
Oh, are we done with that?
Really? No.
Oh, it's over.
I feel like if people were paying attention, they're like, yeah, that is right. I was tripping before.
Well, hopefully,
not getting on board with this. It makes sense now.
We'll see what they see in the comments. We'll see. I think more people will be on my side in the comments, but we'll see.
I'm going to go get GW's Mission Accomplished banner and then write reparations underneath it.
We done. We saw it.
So it's like, we got it knocked out.
We got it done, guys. All right, that's it for this episode, and be sure to check out the next one. Cool. I'm definitely going to get those comments about Uncle Tom, though. That's going to hurt my feelings.